Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii, ready to converse with the individuals who inform, inspire, and influence our everyday lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus. So this part of the exhibit is very significant because Honouliuli played a role in Hawaii's history.
Yes, definitely. For us in the Japanese Cultural Center, our mission is to preserve the history of the Japanese in Hawaii. And when we found out that this place was not even known or found or rediscovered, we realized there'd be a big hole in that part of history. And so that's how we got started.
What exactly happened there?
It was an unjust incarceration of the internees. They were arrested on suspicion only. Not a single Japanese was convicted of crimes of espionage or sabotage during World War II.
And what we see on the walls here is some poetry, you said, some statements of how people felt while they were in the camp.
Yes, internees were very stoic outwardly, but they released their feelings through poetry, and that's what we've put on the walls in light blue here. 1945, H.R. Lodge got permission to take those photos because he wanted to write a book, and they're the only photos we do have of the camp.
And you have crafts, and it's really a wonderful exhibit. Thank you so much for sharing all your information and being part of it.
Thank you.
I'm at the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii with Colonel Stephen Dawson, commander of the U.S. Hawaii Garrison. Thank you for joining us, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Lyla, for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
U.S. Army Hawaii Garrison.
The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marines, they all have an equivalent of me. I'm essentially the city manager and mayor all in one.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is, and if you add up the constituents of the Army in Hawaii, there's 95,000 of us. So I'm essentially the mayor and city manager of the second largest city in Hawaii.
So you have oversight over different locations?
Yes, mostly infrastructure, maintaining the facilities, keeping the roads paved, keeping the buildings maintained, keeping the electricity on, keeping the clean water clean and the wastewater treated.
You know, the military was in the forefront of sustainability practices, and so my impression is that part of your responsibility is also maintaining community wellness.
It is. We have partnered with the Hawaiian Electric Company within the last year to build a 52 megawatt biodiesel power generation station on Schofield Barracks. This generator, when it's complete at the end of this year, will actually run on waste food, basically used vegetable oil. Some of it will be produced here on island, and some will probably be imported. We'll be able to power the entire Schofield Barracks, Wheeler Army Airfield, and some of the surrounding community infrastructure, such as the Wahiawa General Hospital, from this generator.
You know what I appreciate so much in our conversation is your love for Hawaii also, and the spirit that you bring to your profession.
This is my second time in Hawaii. I never thought I'd get to come to Hawaii a second time. I was here as a young captain from 1997 to 2000, and 20 years later, the Army selected me for promotion to colonel, which I was very grateful, and then they selected me to be this garrison commander in Hawaii. So I'm back with the family, and this is the most patriotic, beautiful place to be in this entire United States of America.
What are the two sides of leadership? You know, one is the successes or the joys, and the other is the challenges and some of the issues that you face. I would gather from your spirit that it's the successful part that you really enjoy the most.
It is, and you know, the success comes from working with great people. The Army has a lot of toys that, you know, all of the services of the Department of Defense have a lot of really expensive, cool toys. The only thing that really matters and really makes us successful is the people, and I get the most professional satisfaction from the people I work with.
What's the newest project besides with Hawaiian Electric for this biodiesel plant that you have going on that reaches all of your installations?
Probably the newest project we have going on that reaches all of our installations is just expanded use of renewable energy. The Army currently has about 8,000 homes for our families on our properties. And we partner with a private company, Island Palms Community, to provide those homes. And today, 34% of the electricity generated for those homes is generated using photovoltaic, so basically solar energy. So we're always looking for opportunities, both here on this island at the Puakalua training area as well, to generate electricity for the Army in a very responsible manner. We happen to have here in Hawaii the Army's largest electric bill, and we're probably Hawaiian Electric Company's largest customer.
Well, and also the Department of Education. There are a lot of families, military families, Army families, that have their children in the public schools, and there's so many great partnerships that are going on.
There is. We have 6 Department of Education schools on our bases. So the children of Hawaii come onto our base, they get bused onto the base to participate in education in these schools. Our own Army children are in these same schools as well as the schools outside of the base. And most recently, the Department of Defense Office of Economic Adjustment approved a $70 million grant to give to the Department of Education, which the state's going to match with $30 million to build a brand new elementary school on Schofield Barracks for the surrounding community. Isn't that incredible?
It's incredible, and it's a wonderful way to segue the end of our conversation. I'm sorry we don't have any more time, but thank you very much for sharing who you are and what the U.S. Army Garrison is in Hawaii. We've been chatting with Colonel Steve Dawson, Commander of U.S. Army Garrison, Hawaii. Thank you for tuning in. I'm here with Reynold Keoki, the Cybersecurity Coordinator with the State Department of Defense. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Can you please help me understand what cybersecurity actually means in general?
Okay, well, cybersecurity really means with all of the interconnectivity we have in our society today, we're working in an area that provides a lot of benefit, but a lot of concern and dangers out there. So cybersecurity is really trying to go about hardening your system, protecting your system, and really protecting yourself, your personal information, and your money specifically against those that are very malicious. I refer to it as the malicious cancer that we have out there in the IT digital space. So it's really taking a personal responsibility to protect what you have on the network.
So having grown up in Hawaii and now being a coordinator with the State Department, you have a commitment to our community, I know.
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, I just retired from the Hawaii National Guard after 31 years, so I need to find something to do with that extra time. What I'm really doing right now is engaging with the cybersecurity professional community as well as the cybersecurity enthusiasts in the state, and we have a whole bunch, and trying to get our energy pushing in a direction that will help the state of Hawaii to increase our cybersecurity posture. So what that means is if something happens in this state, our systems will be hardened a little better, it'll be protected a little better. So if something happens, less will happen, maybe nothing, but at the same time to have some systems and capabilities out there so that our resiliency increases. So if something does happen, we'll bounce back a lot faster.
And our young people definitely need to know about how to do this as well.
Yeah, so again, in this society we live in today, again, we are interconnected globally, which means everyone can see everyone, which is good, but again, it could be bad because the malicious criminals are out there. So it's very important that we all understand as we go along to catch the ideas of how to protect ourselves. And it can be a challenge specific for our youth that's going to be living through this for a bit. It's important for them to also know.
And how can you help them learn more about it?
Nationally, if you want to compete or do cybersecurity as a sport, believe it or not, there's a program called Cyber Patriot. It's a national sport, and this last season, over 3,400 teams competed for the national title. And interestingly, Lelehua High School, Army JROTC, made the nationals, advanced to the top, and this year took 5th place nationally in their division.
Wow. Are there cyber camps or training programs that young people can go to?
We have never had really anything during the summer for Cyber Patriot, which is a national sport. But this year, I just want to put a plug in. Cyber Hui, which is a bunch of volunteers that are cyber professionals as well as enthusiasts, have worked really hard over the last 4 months. and have brought in cyber camps. And so what cyber camps is, it's a summer program, 1 week, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, that teaches the basics of Cyber Patriot, which is the sport that goes on during the school year. And so we have never had a cyber camp in this state ever, but I'm really happy to see that with Cyber Hui, we're going to have 16 camps statewide.
Oh, this is for high school students.
So these are actually for both middle school and high school.
And what is your goal from these camps?
Sometimes we look at kids just as kids, but when you look at what's going to happen when these camps go through is these students are going to learn about cybersecurity, how to protect themselves. So by definition, they will protect themselves and their friends. They'll go home and protect their families. So that's a good kind of benefit we'll see shortly in these camps. But beyond that, they're going to go, a lot of them are in high school now, they're going to go to college. And there is a big gap of the number of cybersecurity professionals we need in this state, nationally actually, and that we have here. There's a big deficit. We really need cybersecurity professionals.
Well, your leadership in this area is much appreciated, and I wish we could talk a little bit further on this. I know some of it's security, but thank you for giving us your ideas, and thank you for tuning in with my conversation with Reynold Keoki, Cybersecurity Coordinator with the State Department of Defense. I'm here with Terrell Hayashino, President and Executive Director of the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii. Thank you for joining us, and what a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Well, welcome to the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii. We're very happy to have you here today.
Well, you are one of the happiest leaders I've ever met.
Oh, I love it here. There's a challenge every day.
What is so special about this place that you could share with us?
Oh my gosh. The Japanese Cultural Center has a really rich history, very dedicated. It was created by volunteers, people who we were very committed to preserving the Japanese culture, the heritage, and really looking for the future, a way to teach future generations about the history and the culture of Japanese and Japanese Americans in Hawaii.
This is a special place not only for history, but also for the future.
That's right. Today you'll have a chance to view our exhibit, Okage-sama de, I Am What I Am Because of You. And the exhibit chronicles the history of Japanese in Hawaii, from immigration through plantation to pre-war, World War II, statehood, and now the contemporary life of Japanese in Hawaii, and how it's very much part of the local culture.
What I appreciate so much about conversing with you even before the program was your value on legacy, and how the challenge of change and continuity runs through this center.
Well, I think that's our greatest challenge as an organization, and I think for many organizations. On the one hand, we want to preserve our history. We want to be able to transfer the rich traditional values of our Issei and Niseis to the next generation and future generations. But at the same time, we've got to remain dynamic and adapt to the changing environment of the new generations. And I often think about, what will our legacy be? What do we want? What do we want generations 100 years from now? What do we want them to understand and know about Japanese Americans?
Your energy is very contagious as this organization also moves forward. What is it that drives you to continue growing and changing?
I think it's my own personal story. I grew up, I'm a Sansei, I'm a third generation Japanese American, and I grew up listening to the stories of my Issei immigrant grandparents, my Nisei parents, and their struggle, their sacrifices to immigrate to the United States and then to survive the incarceration during World War II and to reestablish their lives and the sacrifices they made. I grew up listening to those stories and appreciating what they allowed me to accomplish. And I think that's what has motivated me, I think, throughout my life, is to preserve all the stories of our past.
It's a challenge right now with our young people wanting to be something perhaps that they don't even know they want to be yet. How does the Cultural Center support that growth?
I think, we try to reach the younger generation and many people, many audiences in many different ways through cultural festivals. We celebrate our New Year's. Ohana Festival, as you know, New Year's is a very big holiday for Japanese Americans, for Japanese. So through our festivals, like our New Year's Ohana Festival, through some of the traditional Children's Day activities. So we conduct our cultural festivals, and then we also do our outreach to the schools and through our exhibit here, whether it's through learning of teaching history or through some of the cultural traditions, origami or martial arts in our dojo, or we have tea ceremony in our tea room. We try to reach different people in different ways.
Well, it has been a pleasure chatting with you, and we'll look forward to hearing a little bit more about the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii when we do our walkabout.
Great.
Thank you very much for joining us, Carol. We've been talking with Terrell Hayashino, President and Executive Director of the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii. We'll be right back. With us today on Island Focus is Gareth Yoshimi, who is the Vice President for Information Technology with the University of Hawaii Systems. Thank you for taking the time to be with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you for asking me.
Information technology sounds like a very large responsibility.
It is. It's large, and it's also a lot of fun. So for your classic nerd growing up in high school, complete Pan Am bag, pocket protector, the whole deal.
The pens in the pocket.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's fantastic. It gives me a great opportunity to apply the stuff that you learn in school, in college, but also gives an opportunity to have a great impact on our community and first and foremost our students.
There's this perception that technology is so hyperbolic, right? It's so foreign for many people. But what you're saying is actually it's connected with things that we already know.
Everything that we do is connected or is touched by technology. So the thing that we're involved with the university is we really touch every single thing and every single person in our community. So our students, our faculty, our staff, the stuff that we do and that we deliver, the services we deliver for the university community really, really touch everybody. And whether they know it or not, we have a hand in almost everything the university does.
So when you talk about delivering the services, what does that look like?
So for the university, we handle all of the infrastructure that delivers technology services across the university system. So all 10 campuses, all of our various locations, education centers across the state. We actually provide the communications utility service, if you will, for the university community on a statewide basis. We connect the university to the rest of the world. And we also are responsible for running the enterprise systems for the university, so human resources, finance, student information system. We actually touch a lot of the folks in our community every single day that they come to the University of Hawaii.
With so much interconnectivity, not only of the subjects, but also the technology.
Right.
How do you sort through that?
It's pretty interesting. It's a lot of fun. It's a huge challenge. We have to keep up with the different trends and the different things that happen in our field constantly. There's a lot of stuff that changes. So security is a very big deal for us. It's a headline more often than not. But this is stuff that we have to keep up with and that we have to keep current with in order to not only continue to deliver our services, but to make sure that the services are delivered in a way that everybody can make use of them and that everybody is kind of safe and protected within the university environment.
So it sounds like there's a lot of learning every day, even for you, not just because it's the university system.
Right. It's really lifetime learning. You hear that tossed around a lot, but it is so much in the technology field because things change so often. It's all about learning and it's all about teaching as well. So a big part of my role is in fact to make sure that we can communicate that to all of our broad community. So it's a translator of sorts. It's you have to learn about technology, but also make sure that other folks understand what you're doing as well as why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, it seems that you not only enjoy the learning, but that you're also very energized and enthusiastic about the future of this.
This is the best job anybody can have. We're fortunate to have a president at the university that's also a geek. We adoringly refer to him as head geek. But this is a really great place to be. It's a lot of fun. It's very energizing. It's very engaging. It gives me a way to connect with community, connect with our students as well as our faculty and staff, as well as connect with the employers throughout the state. So it's a very big deal for us.
Well, it sounds also that your role will not only enliven the respect, but also the stature of the university.
Yes, we're hoping to connect very well with our community. So in fact, one of the big things we're doing now is in workforce development. So so STEM is a big thing throughout the nation, big thing for the University of Hawaii, but also big for IT at the University of Hawaii. Not only do we participate in the development of the workforce pool, but we're also one of the largest IT employers in the state of Hawaii. So it's really a good place for us to kind of sit both sides.
We'll look forward to hearing a little bit more in the future. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Lyla.
We've been chatting with Gareth Yoshimi, who is the Vice President for Information Technologies with the University of Hawaii System. Thank you for tuning in.
This section of our exhibition is right after the immigration, the plantation history. So this point in history, the Japanese are coming off the plantations. They're starting to go into the community. They start starting their own businesses, sending their children to school, to get educated in English. So that's what's happening at this point.
Fascinating that in the classroom example here, there's Japanese and American flags.
Yes.
And grocery, and you were talking about how children come here, visitors come here to learn more about themselves.
Yes, yes.
This was a significant experience for you too, coming here.
Yes, it is. My family didn't come as plantation workers. They came later. And so for me, coming to the Cultural Center to see this, to learn about this history, it was a way for me to talk to my family. And that's how I learned that, they didn't come and work on the plantations.
Well, and it must give you even a deeper sense of being connected with Hawaii.
Yes, it does.
From your culture.
Yes, it does.
So significantly, these photographs are not only historic, but they're very touching. Mm-hmm. Yes, so much of the dialogue talks about, who am I?
Yes.
Am I American? Am I Japanese?
Exactly. That's one of the things that we want, again, children to come by and learn about themselves.
Thank you for joining me in the conversation with Tom Williams, the Executive Director for the Hawaii State Employees Retirement System. Appreciate you being here for a few minutes with us.
Well, I'm delighted for the opportunity to meet with you. I'd like today to share a little bit of information about the Employees Retirement System, and more particularly about the impact that it has not only on the members of our program, but for the citizenry at large, quite frankly. Everyone knows that our big plan, we provide retirement benefits for 120,000 members and their beneficiaries. That includes about 67,000 active employees, 45,000 retirees. And in combination, it represents about 8.4% of the Hawaii population. But when you think about the average size of a typical family, let's just say it's 3 individuals, it means that 25% of the population of the state is directly impacted fiscally by the benefits that this system pays. We have about $15 billion in assets. We pay out $1.25 billion annually, and those monies flow into the system to provide retirement security for our members and their families. And those monies flow regardless of the economic environment. So when times are good, those dollars are dependable, they flow. When the economy's bad, those monies continue to flow, they're guaranteed. So it provides stabilization to the economy during down periods.
It must give you a great deal of satisfaction to know that there's so much service provided in many different aspects of the retirement system.
That's the key. To make this system relevant to our members, the money is, of course, super important. But the way we deliver that money, the services that underlie the delivery and the investment of those monies, the dedication of our employees. I get commendations and letters almost on a daily basis, referencing how wonderfully well our members were served when they came in at what are really difficult times in their lives when they're trying to make decisions. They're leaving a career, this next chapter, they don't know fully what to expect. And our people put them at ease. And they're technically expert, but more importantly, they're really caring about our members. And that's a reputation, and it's something that I stress for our employees.
Well, I was just going to say that comes from leadership, that your vision of service also provides that guidance to the employees.
Absolutely. You know, it comes from a long history of working actually on the mainland with a pension fund, the world's largest private pension fund, and it served university faculty. It served teachers across the nation. And I began to realize the impact that those people had on people like me, first generation college graduates. And the people who we served are not only the teachers from across the state, but the police and the fire. You know, we served the department employees. Every service that you could imagine that you receive in the state, they are represented in our membership. And it's so impactful, and it impacts the quality of life across the state of Hawaii.
Well, your professional career and your spirit speak well of our aloha philosophy here, that everyone is connected and we take care of each other. There's so much more that we can learn from you and from this retirement system, and I'm sorry that our time is already short. We'll have to connect with your website and hear a little bit more.
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We've been chatting with Tom Williams, Executive Director for the Hawaii State Employees Retirement System. Thank you for joining us, and thank you so much. Mahalo to the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii for hosting us, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other. See you soon.